Welcome, everyone, to another Friday morning Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind. I am your co-host today, Todd Bookspan, the founder of Win by Noon and co-founder of this group. And I am super excited you are all here today. Apologize for the slight delay. I think that Zoom did not like Deborah's Dallas Cowboys shirt.
Whatever.
Whatever it is, here is my co-host with the most, none other than Deborah Bird from Plug and Play SM.
You can't blame the Cowboys on the internet connection, Todd.
I'm just saying, I think that's what it could be. I got my Eagles shirt over there, the only undefeated football team, but they still have to play Dallas in Dallas on New Year's Day. So I'm not counting my chickens.
That's so funny. Well, so I was just doing a podcast with Denise and Kai, and so I had to wear, this is actually a dress. I'll spare you all the details. It was an Amazon purchase, and I got to represent the boys. So
well, that is exciting. Well, I'm super fired up. We have a very, very special guest. So I will let you do our introduction today.
Yeah, well, so kind of the magic of a moment. My videographer, he was getting married, and Denise and I went to the wedding, and I'm sitting there, and here comes Derrick, and Derrick and I are just having a great conversation, and immediately it's like there was this connection and this feeling of being seen and heard. And anyways, long story short, for those of you who have seen the Mortgage Nerd Academy, Derrick is actually the man behind the scenes who have really helped put this all together and has been coaching Denise and I. And so I thought, what better time when, there's some loan officers out there and even some real estate agents who are struggling a little bit. So I wanted to personally invite Derrick to be on, and I'm excited for today's topic. So welcome, Derrick.
Thank you so much. And the Eagles, you guys are flying, doing a great job, but Eagles are supposed to be eaten.
All right. Well, that is good to know. Well, it's great to meet you here. So you didn't say Derrick's last name. He's Derrick Butts, and you're a real estate and mindset coach. I mean, how do you frame yourself?
Yeah, strategic mindset coach that just really helps people with the sales and systems in which they operate in.
So today we titled this, I had asked Derrick, what do you think would be a timely message, kind of focused around mindset? And so we titled this 5 must-haves to win in today's market. So Derrick, take it away.
Well, no, I appreciate it. So, I think that the market is what the market is right now. And I think one of the biggest things that we have to have in today's market is vision. If you do not have vision for what you do, who you are, as well as where you're going, right now, you could go based on the noise that the media is speaking to you. We realize that what gets into the heart normally comes from the eye gate and the ear gate. Social media, being Deborah Bird's specialty, has been just pumping so much information right now of facts. But even in the midst of facts, there's still the opportunity that I believe is like right now, right here, for people to just thrive. I think in a market like this, you got a lot of people taking steps back, and the individuals that decide to really brand and go forward, it's their time to shine, because what we just left, everybody was online. Now nobody wants to be online. If you get visible, business stays possible for you. So I think the first thing that people really need right now is you got to have a vision to see for and to see more than what other people see right now, because we know what everybody's saying. But vision always sees beyond opposition, and they see the opportunity in the midst of that opposition. So vision is the first thing that I really believe people have to have right now in order for them to succeed in today's market.
So what are your suggestions, Derrick, when someone is struggling with coming up with their vision? I mean, what are your suggestions of how someone really determine what that is so they can get that laser focus?
Yeah, it's a great question, Todd. I think one of the first things I suggest is to eliminate the noises that are around us. I think sometimes what happens is we're influenced and we're impacted based on the people that we put ourselves in, maybe the crowd that we run with. And if we're not careful, we will go along with what the mainstream is saying. So the first thing I tell people is isolate yourself for a second, slow down in order for you to speed up. Remember who it is that you are, remember what you're doing, and remember your big why. And I think sometimes when we just left a market where it was really kind of easy, and it was really just, if it just raised my hand and told you this is what I do, you needed my services, I didn't need to really be good at certain things. Right now is the time for you to isolate and get back to the basics. If people will get brilliant in the basics, and many times the basics are the boring, this is when they'll really get back to the things that made them successful in the beginning. So slow down to speed up, isolate yourself from the noises that are around you, and just get back to your drawing board. What is it that I need? I don't need many times thousands of people buying. I don't need thousands of loans happening. I actually just need my one. I need my next. I need my person that's saying yes to me and my program, or yes to me and my offer, yes to me and me selling a home, or yes to me and me writing their loan. I just need that one. And I think we have to get back to seeing the relational side of the business, not just the big transactional side. So before we scaled anything, we had to first sell something. And I think we have to get back to that place.
Well, and I just love that because, you said the eye gate and the ear gate, and then you have to get visible. And so I feel like a lot of times, even just with social media, obviously I'm heavy on pushing people to do video. You've got to interject your energy, your face, and the brand in between some of those static posts. But there's fear. There's fear that's, what am I going to say? How do I say it? What are people going to think? Or they make the post and they're like, oh, I got 4 views. Like, this isn't working. So anything that you want to say to those who are maybe just getting started and too fixated on results and not being patient to see, with consistency, the results will come.
Yeah, no. I think the first thing is that every time we do something that puts ourselves out there, it's a seed. So the seed always starts small, but the harvest always is going to be larger than the seed. So the more seeds that I'm willing to plant, the more potential I have to have some harvest. So I think the first thing is realizing that everybody has a rookie season. No one starts off as an expert. We start off as a rookie. And being a rookie, you just have to get out there. And when you get out there, I teach my people the MIIA philosophy, which is massive, immediate, imperfect action. The universe does not respond to our intention. It responds to our action. So if I'll put myself out there in my immediate imperfect state, I can always get better along the way, but I have to be willing to first just get started. So yes, turn the camera around, say hi to your people, say something that they need to hear, and then from that place, we'll tweak it. We'll teach you about lighting, and we'll teach you about your verbiage and your messaging and your marketing, but you just got to be willing to go big right now and be bold, because a brand that stands is going to be the one that wins.
Love that. I think just speaking on demographics, it can be a challenge for the baby boomers or Gen X, where, you come from an era of video was like film, it was production, everything was to be polished and on TV, where you have some of the Gen Zs and younger millennials where this is really easy and more natural for them to just turn a camera around with no filters and put it on YouTube. So there's a little bit of that resistance, and it could just be, a paradigm shift that needs to be adopted, that your videos don't have to be super polished and for this mass production, like a film. That's just not the way that this content is even consumed anymore.
Yeah, you're right. And I think you can go both ways with it, right? I mean, sometimes it doesn't have to be the video where you see me and my face. Sometimes it's me and my product. And I'm just doing talkovers. I'm just doing voiceovers, where if I don't want to be on the camera, I'm shy about some of those things. But as we know, though, it just gets that reach and relevancy. So we have to, as you stated, have that paradigm and be willing to try something because of the result that we want. I think there's where the focal point comes, is that I do what I do, not always because I like it, but it's because I have to have the result factor. The right side of the equal sign is more important than the equation that I have to play in. But if I need that right side of the equal sign to go right, I'm willing to do whatever the equation states.
Love it. Love it. So vision is number one. What's the number two thing that we must have to win in today's market?
So I think the second thing is all about alignment. You know, once you define who you are, now I need to get everything in my world in alignment to that. My energy, my resources, my effort, everything has to now start to align to that place. So I start assigning the dates and the deadlines so that what I do starts to match what I'm thinking, where my vision is. Because we know that if we're out of alignment, things start steering off to the right or left, right? Take just a car illustration from it. You know, if your car's out of alignment and you take your hand off the steering wheel, we'll start seeing it veer. And that's what happens many times in our businesses, though. If we're not careful, we'll take a nap, and then there's where the gap comes in our business. So we got to keep our hands close enough to the steering wheel so that there'll be a flow factor to take place. We don't want to force things, but we do want to flow in things. You know, the quick little story, I remember growing up, when I was growing up, my mother was an old school mother that said, Derrick, you're not going in and out of this house during the summertime. So you're either going to, you know, play outside with your friends, but you can't keep coming in and out. So we had two things. One, you had a little red cup that she would give you, and she would write your name with the magic marker or a Sharpie with your name on the cup. You know, it was three of us, so we would put our names on there. That was the first thing. You're not going to dirty up all her dishes, and you're not going to come in and out of her house. The second thing, though, was she said, if you get real thirsty, you'll drink from the water hose. Well, there were times, though, we would go to the water hose, we would turn that water hose on, and we knew the water hose was on because we could hear it. But the water wasn't flowing. And when the water didn't flow, what did you do? You always went to the place of the hose where there was a knot. And you had to undo that knot in order for that flow to happen. That's what I'm talking about in alignment. Right now, I need everything from my mind to my mouth to my movement going in the same direction. Anytime one's going the opposite, you're going to play tug of war and you're going to pull things apart. That's where a lot of people are in today's market. Their mind says, oh, it's so slow. Their mouth says, I need business. Their movement doesn't know which one to listen to. So one day they sit at home and they do nothing. The next day I get motivated and I do something. But if I don't do it consistently, I don't know which one I'm going to get. So I need all of them in sync, running together and pulling in that direction.
Wow. And, you know, I failed to say this in the beginning, Todd, that Derrick coaches a lot of real estate agents. So he's very in tune with this market. I'm sure you can tell just with some of his analogies. Derrick, when you're coaching real estate agents and you're even talking to them about vision and alignment, what is some of the feedback just from them being in the trenches that, you know, this audience, there's a lot of loan officers that are tuning in. If they want to help that agent they may witness that tug of war that's going on, is there a theme or things that you're hearing from the agent side of the market that would be beneficial for us to know?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we're hearing is that people repeat what they hear the most. And this is where mindset normally gets established, where we repeat the message that we are hearing the most. Here's what I really challenge on. If you don't want to receive what you're going to get from it, don't repeat it. Stop repeating what we hear and start reframing and restating something based on what you need. Example, it's slow. Okay, great. But how many people do you need? You need one. So say that. I am an agent that needs a client, and I always have a client to work with. I'm a loan officer that needs my realtors to always have clients. Okay, then say that. My realtor connections always have enough people to serve. It can be slow, but it's just not going to be slow for me. It's just not going to be slow in my world, in my circle, in my sphere. Let other people take on that. For you, you take on what you need and go find the people that are buying. There's still people moving. There's still people needing to buy, and there's still people wanting to buy. So one of the things that we say even in vision is, once I have the vision, control the narrative. You control the narrative of how something is said, how something is perceived, how something is received based on how you control the narrative, right? That moves me to really number 3, which is messaging and marketing. You control the narrative though. That's the biggest thing right now. And this is what I challenge them with. When the rates were 2%, you still had people renting. And I let that thing just sit there for a second. Oh, it was 2%. You can get a 30-year mortgage for 2.5%. And I mean, it is there. And you still have people choosing to rent. When it's 7%, you still have people buying. So we control the narrative. How do we control the narrative? Well, if the price is high at 2%, it turns into a payment. If the prices start decreasing and the rates are high, it turns into a payment. Many times right now we're seeing they're similar to the same. It would be one thing if the price stayed high and the rate stayed high, but we're starting to see certain things start to bounce like a seesaw. You know how it is. When that seesaw was going, you never wanted to be at the bottom of the seesaw. Somebody jump off on you, you would fly off. That's the same thing. We want to show people the seesaw effect and let them see that, guess what? I just want to give people the education and I let them make the decision.
That's good. Okay, so we've got vision, alignment, messaging, and marketing. What's number 4?
Yeah, number 4 moves into strategic connections and partnerships. You know, when you're in a season like this, you have to make sure that who's connected to you is who should be connected to you, right? It's the same kind of adage I said earlier, is that when you're playing tug of war and you're playing that game, you want to make sure everybody's pulling in the same direction. So if you're a realtor, you need to make sure your loan officers are together. If you're a loan officer, you need to make sure your realtor connections together. Right now, if something is heavy, you need help. If something is hard, you need more help. So if we're in a tough market, let's come together and let's get creative and let's allow our creativity to make sure that our ecosystem that we put together, that it wins. Here's the time where we want the money to flow inside of our ecosystem. I may not market just my money, but I may market my ecosystem right now. Imagine right now, my realtor, my loan officer, my insurance broker, my title company, all saying we are a unit and we're going to make sure that we dominate right where we are. And we're going to flood the marketing and go all in to make sure that if there's fewer people saying yes, the yeses are coming our direction. So we're going to make sure that we're seen. We're going to make sure that we're heard. We're going to make sure that the narrative that we're speaking about says it in a way that people say, those are the people that have confidence. Those are the people that still are working. And that's who I want to do business with. So strategic connections and partnerships are very vital right now.
Okay, well, I feel like we can't mention connections without talking about sales boomerang and how important it is of having the database. Todd, any questions you want to ask just when it comes to database or database marketing or connections?
Well, I mean, I think everyone should resonate with the idea that we need to have great connections and relationships. And I feel like the struggle right now that I'm hearing loan officers have is it's their call reluctance to pick up the phone to go meet somebody new. It's their reluctance to go to the events just because their mindset is kind of messed up. So how would you encourage someone who's struggling with call reluctance to try to get a new relationship to get over that?
Yeah, no, I love that. So I think here's where that we got to look at the results that come from the other side of the things that we want to be reluctant to. You know, I think the pandemic taught us how technology helps us in the areas of productivity, We learned how to do things from a productive standpoint, which I believe is great. I think post-pandemic, though, we're starting to really see that people are really wanting to re-engage in connectivity, where if we will get out there and really start handshaking and doing the things that we used to have to do when we didn't have all of the technology, then we're going to start bumping into those people. So then with technology, it just multiplies what we get to do. So right now is a time where we can call and check on, call and be a part of. So one of the things that I teach is you don't want to just be the caller from a transactional realm, but be a caller from a life realm. So when you start seeing things that people they're doing, their kids are graduating high school right now, make the call and talk about high school, and now allow that introduction to move into your sphere and to talk about your 3 to 5 people that you may know that may need to do something. Look at life changes for people and start to dial in a specific area that says, hey, I'm going to go after people that may be downsizing in this market. And that may be the group that I'm going to really put my message and marketing around. So the reluctancy to me on any task that is there has to be a resurge and a magnifying to the result that comes from that task. That's the only thing that gets me to go do it right now, is for me to understand that on the other side of the thing that I'm resisting is the thing that I say I desire.
So Todd, how is that going with just your group? I mean, are you hearing a lot of people may make commitments to do 20 or 25 calls a day? I think you're doing 25 calls a day. Is that right, Todd? Or are you doing more than that?
I'm encouraging 20 quality conversations a day, like actually talking to 20 people a day right now, between leads, clients, current partners, prospective partners. I mean, really just to put yourself out there. You got to increase the people that you're connecting with on a day-to-day basis if you're really planning on having the momentum and building business as we head through the rest of this year and into next year, which is going to be super important.
And so
Yeah.
on average, how many would you say like attempts you'd have to make to get 20 quality conversations?
It kind of depends. I mean, during COVID, when loans were falling out of the sky, I mean, I had people who were making, literally 20 to 22 calls to talk to 20 people. Right now, people are having to make, maybe 25 calls, sometimes 30 calls. A lot of it just depends on who the list is you're calling. If you're calling leads that are coming off the internet, then obviously more calls to connect with people. If you're calling realtors who you know and love you, less calls. If you're calling realtors who are your prospecting realtors, more calls. And so it's just going to be a matter of, setting aside that time and being super committed that like, this is the most important thing that's going to drive my business as I head to the rest of the year. And, it's kind of like, I had a dentist when I lived in Tucson, and I used to shop in my bike shop in my previous life. His name was Dr. Woon. And I was like, Dr. Woon, how do you convince yourself to floss your teeth every night? And he says, I just convince myself that if I don't floss my teeth, my teeth are all going to fall out. And I thought, all right, well, that sounds pretty basic, but guess what? It worked. I, floss my teeth every night. And so I think when it comes to prospecting and it comes to this whole idea of, hey, if I've got to connect with 20 people, I think as a loan officer right now, you've got to make that your number one most important thing to do before you get distracted and worry about other stuff. If you really want to make sure that your teeth don't fall out, that you actually have loans in, November, December, January, February, because, it's getting a little lighter out there from a lot of the conversations I'm having. And, this is the market. We're all in the same market. And Derrick already said it. People are buying houses at 7%. And why shouldn't it be someone that you come in contact with? You just may have to contact more people to find those people.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is there's still people that are buying, but the number of people that are able to buy, like that pool is a little bit smaller. It's kind of like when we were buying toilet paper during COVID. So the reality of, we have a lot more millennials that are entering the home buying market, and there's just not enough homes for sale. And so, you fast forward a couple of months, you either have to network or connect with even more real estate agents than you ever have, because the amount of transactions per agent is it's less, it's fewer. So it's going to naturally weed out the ones that, unfortunately, like I hate to say this, but probably a third of loan officers and real estate agents, in order to survive, like they may have to exit because there's just not going to be enough to go around. It's like feeding, a family of 6 and there's only 3 bowls. Like there's some that are going to be starving. And so you can capitalize on this market and sharpen some of those soft skills for sales, also the sales skills and how to be a better listener and how to create opportunity and just making sure that your energy is also introducing yourself. Because if you're going around talking about how, leading with rates and how rates are 7.5, like we know that. And the people who are, pre-qualifying also know that the rates are higher. So again, I think, focusing on your energy and just how are you going to go after even more connections than you ever have, when knowing the reality that, your agents, it's going to take more agent partners or, CPAs, financial advisors, divorce attorneys, you name it.
Well, you just called out our group that a third of them could have to leave the business. So I won't let that happen to you all. That's why we're here. We do not want that to happen to anyone in our community. And so that's why we're encouraging. That's why we've got Derrick here to get us some motivation, get us our mindset right. Because I think that's, I've always said it. There's just not a lot. There's great coaching. I've had great coaching all my life, but I haven't had a lot of great mindset coaching. There's just not a lot of, folks that focus on that. That's why I was so excited for you to be here today, Derrick.
Thank you, Todd. So let's stay right where we are for just a second if we can. So let's talk about that, right? Mindset coaching and mindset. So here's what I always say concerning it. But before you have a mindset, I challenge people to have a mind shift. That's the first thing. Because what happens sometimes is that our mind has been set wrong. When I travel from Dallas to go to Las Vegas, I'm going from one time zone to the next time zone. Now, two things I normally carry with me. I normally have a watch on my left hand and my cell phone in my right hand. When I land in Las Vegas, once I get off the plane and my phone taps into the tower, my phone automatically shifts from the zone that I was in to the zone that I am in currently now. My watch has to be manually or intentionally set to the zone that I'm in. Here's the mistake most people make. We allow our mind to automatically go into the place that it's at, and that's where it gets set, even when it's set wrong. And what I have to challenge people on right now is that their mindset needs a shift. You have to choose and be intentional that I'm not going to be in the zone that it was in. Great of the years that we had of where everybody was saying yes. But truth be told, our work ethic was poor at that point. You didn't have to be brilliant in order to have business then. You just had to just say, this is what I did. It's like having a McDonald's and having a 6-year-old. The sign just has to be up in the air in order for them to say, I want to go to McDonald's and get some fries and go get me some of that and get a toy because of the sign. Well, here's the problem. Many people, we can't see your sign. We don't see it. And we don't see it because you decided to go and retreat because of the masses of what we've heard. And I'm challenging you to shift it. Shift it to the place that you just start telling yourself, I am going to do the things that matter. Todd, you said it a second ago. Having a client is the most important thing somebody can have. So my challenge to many right now is this right here. Why are you spending all of your time educating yourselves on other things right now instead of mastering client acquisition? Right now, that would be the only thing I'd focus on. How do I get a client? Where's my next client come from? Where can I find another client? How do I get a client? And I would circle around the same questions, because what motivates me to learn the education side is the fact that I have a client. So I'm teaching, I'm training all on how to stay visible. When everybody else retreated, double down right now. Go all in. Make sure that your message is there. Control the narrative, control the number. So once you have the narrative right, now you control the number, frequency, repeat, repetition, say it again, let them hear it, because I want to make sure that the frequency is there, because we know impressions impact decisions. So if I can impress upon people that I'm here, I'm here for you. I'm here with you. And we're going to make it through this. And I'm going to show you why this is the best of times, not the worst of times. Then you have your opportunity to do what you do best. And that is lead them, add value, and guide them to the finish line.
Love that. Are there things that you are telling your coaching clients from a mandatory, not mandatory, but your practices that you should be doing, whether it's every morning before noon or just daily reps that you would have to put in to get the results that they want?
Yes, yes. So the things that we're focusing on right now is we're increasing visibility in our touches. That is the main thing that we're focusing on. And so those things look different every single day. It could look from getting onto your stories. It could look from doing video marketing. It could look from your posting. It could look from setting up your own networks. It could look from doing your celebration moments with clients that's already done business. See, I'm a believer in before I eat the fruit, I plant the seed. So when there's fruit, when there's a person that we do business with, before we finish with that client, there's other business inside of that place. And so we're going to have social influence and social impact in those areas. And so we're seeing that take place, right? We realize that if we will just do these things, then people around those people, we're leveraging relationships, leveraging influence, and we're dominating our area, right? We are dominating our area. If a Pizza Hut will not deliver pizza outside of a certain radius, we don't want to, I want to dominate the radius that I'm in. And so that's what we're doing. We are just getting uber focused on being visible and understanding client acquisition. We're practicing how do we say hello, right? So I teach this concept of 12s. There's 3 12s in people's life. The first 12 is your brand. What is your brand speaking when you don't get to say a word? When somebody goes onto your profile, when somebody goes and Googles you, when somebody goes onto your website, what does your brand speak? Does it say something then? The second 12 is your vibrations, your energy. When somebody gets around you, do they have that feeling of, ooh, this is the right person? Or do they have that feeling of there's something fishy here? And that's that place that we're teaching, body language, facial expressions, emotional, the soft skills. We're making sure that when we come out, it is just like an actor and an actress. It's game on. And then the final 12 is, what's the first 12 words that come out of your mouth? What's the first phrases that you say? How do you have contract interruption? How do you have a conversation interruption? We call it the 2-minute drill. There shouldn't be a time where you're talking to somebody beyond 2 minutes where the rubber doesn't meet the road and you don't have something to say that can interrupt it or cause that conversation to come and ask a question of, tell me more. So as we focus and really sharpen the saw, that's really where we're dialing and getting these results from.
I just love it. I love the whole idea of being visible and getting out there, and client acquisition, I think, is really key. I mean, one thing I should say too, that I'm noticing in the group coaching group that I have, I've got so many people that have 15, 20, 25 pre-qualified clients, yet only 2, 3, 4, or 5 are actually out shopping. And so it's the whole idea of continuing to build that big funnel because less people are going through it right now. And then also at the same time, the importance of keeping in touch with those folks, encouraging them along, because at some point they're going to be a buyer. And you got to remember, if you don't follow up with them, they won't follow up with you. So Derrick, how would you encourage a loan officer to take what you are telling us here and turn that into a good conversation with their real estate agent to try to motivate their real estate agent to go out and get and acquire leads on their part too?
Yeah, great question. So I think number one, doing things that you're doing just like this is providing value to them. So I would now start looking at my numbers and I would really see, where did my business come from? And I would start getting strategic. And with that, looking and saying, okay, where am I going to spend my time and who am I going to spend my time with? Of course, I will give everybody the information, but now where is going to be my specific intentional time? It's going to be with my goers. This is a season where you got to be careful that the same way that you jump a battery is also the way you drain a battery. You cannot keep the jumper cables on to somebody forever. So if the person, when you put energy in them, you put strategy into them, and they do not apply it, you got to take your cables off and be willing to put your cables in places that are going to really go with you. So what I say here is you got to go with the goers. Some people I inspire through information, others I inspire through my action. And sometimes what happens is who helped us yesterday doesn't help us in our today, but we want them all to win so bad that we try to keep everybody in the herd going together. Sometimes we got to go ahead and lead and let some people follow. And if you have to do it at a distance. Go watch the kindergarten teacher take the kids to the bathroom. A smart kindergarten teacher does what? She gets in the front of the line and says, class, we're going to the bathroom, and she starts walking. And because she's the leader, the kids follow. If I'm a loan officer today, I'm not letting them lead me. I'm telling them, you follow me. I'll take us to the promised land. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to do this together. How can I assist you? Where's my checkpoints in my phone that I can now remind you about the things that we said that we were going to do? And let's make sure that we're getting those things done. So it is now a matter of every loan officer, I would challenge their leadership ability right now. I would challenge their leadership skills and say, get your leadership up, because somebody's not going to want to do business with you if you're not going to lead them into the place. So what am I saying? What am I doing? How am I holding people accountable right now? This is when they need that right now. Yeah, we're a team, but we need some accountability right now. This is the best time to really forge that kind of relationship.
Everyone needs it,
Derrick,
but nobody wants it. That's the problem.
yeah. Derrick, where would you advise someone who thinks, okay, I know I need to work on my leadership? Is there a book? Is there a favorite book that you have read that you like that's, could help someone with like those tactics? Or is there, someone you follow on YouTube or on social? Where could someone go to consume and learn more about leadership? Maybe that's you. Maybe everyone needs to know where they can follow you and how to connect with you as well. Help us with, where could someone go to find more knowledge so that they can be, intentional with their time and what they're consuming? So they're going to block out the noise, but now they want to be a magnet for the good information.
Yeah. So if ever a time somebody's going to invest in themselves, is right now. Like right now. This is not a season where you want to go at life alone and go at business alone. So you got to be a part of a mastermind, some type of mastermind that is going to not speak comfort to you, but speak challenge to you. You need to be challenged right now, right? There's 3 levels I always talk about. 1, you're a player. 2, you need to be in competition. And 3, you need to be a dominator. Well, this is not a season where you just want to be on the field. This is, you just get on the field, you're going to get ran over right now. It's not a season where you want to just compete, because if you're not careful, you'll compete against somebody that has a substandard, a mediocrity, and you don't want to win against a loser. So this is a season where you got to be a dominator. And a dominator thinks about the development of them in their business. And that's what a mastermind does for them. You put yourself in a place where you got people that all they think about is winning. While everybody else is talking excuses, they're talking about finding execution, and they're finding a way. Those are the people I want to run with right now. If you want to talk about all those misery and joy's company, there's a big old group over there. But right now, I'd rather cut the group, get with the people that are serious, and let's form alliances and make sure that we win during this season. That's there. The book I would read right now is The One Thing. I would read The One Thing. If you read it before, I'd read it again, because The One Thing says we're going to prioritize so we do not agonize. It helps us to just do the things that matter, which is really the 5th thing that I say in my 5th point, and that is the Pareto power play. We've heard about the Pareto principle all of our lives, that 20% of your efforts are going to yield you 80% of your results. Loan officer, 20% of your agents are going to yield you 80% of your results right now. 20%. So here's my question to you. If you know that 20% is giving you 80, then spend 80% of your time with the 20. Because if I can get them even sharper, what happens is we're going to get more fruit to come there. So the power play is get 1% better in your strengths. Don't focus too much on your weaknesses. Delegate that. Delegate your weaknesses right now. but focus in on your strengths. Get stronger. My son is a senior in high school, and he's a baseball player. Probably one of the fastest kids in the DFW area when it comes to running. He was not the best hitter last year on his team, but he found a way to play varsity baseball because there wasn't anybody that could track a ball down like him in the outfield, and there wasn't anybody that was going to throw him out from the plate. So his strength was his speed and his ability to track down fly balls. He found his way on the field because we focused in on his strengths. We keep getting faster, we keep getting stronger, and we keep getting better. And that's what I'm telling people. Focus in on your strengths right now. And if you focus in on your strengths, we'll delegate your weaknesses. And matter of fact, we'll delete things that you just don't need to be doing. So that's my advice. Get 1% better inside of your 20%. And you'll see massive gains happen when we focus there.
I love that. I love that. So let me throw in a mortgage coach strategy for you all, because you guys need to be focusing on your strengths. And so your strength, if you're in this group, one of your superpowers is creating an amazing TCA. And so I was thinking about sort of what would be the TCA I would create today, right? We've talked a lot, obviously, about 2-1 buy downs. We've talked about other stuff. And I would go back to a TCA that Jeremy Forcier showed us months and months ago. I haven't seen anyone show one lately. Probably somebody has, and I've just missed it. But ultimately, it's the whole idea of setting up the person who's looking to buy now. So you're going to show them, their current, here's what a rate is on a 30-year fix in column, the first column. The second column, I'd still probably show them a 2-1 buy down as an option. And then you want to make sure that the third or fourth column, if you're going to show them one or two options of those, is what that potential future refi rate looks like, right? So think about that, where you can show them, hey, here's what it looks like. Here's what your payment would be if rates drop to 5.5%, right? We had Dan Rawich on last week. I don't want to utter what he said. He said 3%, but let's just pretend we get to 5% or 4%. Maybe show them that. Don't tell clients 3% because they're going to be disappointed if they only get to 3.25. So again, under promise, over deliver, right? Especially on something you can't control. But that would be my TCA strategy that I would throw in, because if Dave was here, guess what? That's what he would have thrown in for us.
Well, and I want to echo the fact that, anyone that you guys are helping to buy right now, and you're setting them up where we know rates are likely going to drop. My challenge to you all is, what is your content strategy or campaign where you're educating today's buyer on, like, let's face it, we're about to go through the holidays. Do they know how to maintain their credit? What steps is there a credit strategy you could provide that will help them get to the top tier credit, so that when it's ready to refinance, they're going to qualify at the highest, or the best pricing? Or going ahead and planting the seed that, okay, just because you signed the lines and you bought the home, don't go and get furniture and get a bunch of appliances, because your debt to income ratio was pretty tight. So if you go and acquire more debt, or you don't realize you're piling on credit card debt and your score drops, that could really hurt your refi opportunity. Not that you may not be able to refinance, but you just want to make sure that you're positioning your clients post-closing. Part of that mortgages under management, I would argue, extend that a bit to credit under management, debts under management, where you have a strategy for them so they're teed up. So that the moment you say, okay, it's go time. Remember when we talked about, this is what we're doing today so that you could refinance, however many months later. Well, now's the time. So add that.
All right. I like that. I like that too.
Right, Derrick. So we've got about.
Can I add one more real quick? I mean, this is a quick one. So my loan officers, here's my next one I'll give you, is go get the client yourselves. Don't sit here and wait on the realtor. Interrupt it. Let's just interrupt it. Who said we had to wait on them to bring me a client? So put you a landing page together that has a great call to action, and go ahead and get them pre-approved right now, and then talk to your realtor group and say, hey, my friend, listen, this is how you go get a client. Boom, let me show you. Then they're going to ask you, how did you do that? And then sit them at the table and say, let me tell you what I did, is I decided to put a piece of bait out there, and I threw it out there, and somebody bit the bait. And then when they bit the bait, I did everything that we've been telling you to do, and I just went on and did it. So I wanted to show you that it's possible to still get business even in this market. Now I want to invite you. Can I help you? Can we do it together this time? But let's go ahead and generate something, right? This is where the doers and the go-getters, this is where you shine. Best businesses come out of adverse times. So I want to see who's the creative, who is the strategic, who's the thinker, who's the one that can come up with something to just make sure that business stays going. Here's your chance to shine.
You know, I recently had gone to Tennessee. I was speaking for a group of real estate agents there, and usually before any market that I go to, I will go to Redfin. And you guys don't shoot me for this. I don't know if Redfin's the best place to go, but I just did a search on price reductions and then FSBOs. And I thought, I was kind of surprised how many people were still listing their home for themselves. And I thought, okay, if I were a loan officer, I would use something like Lender Launchpad, and I would have a website or a link that I could text out or email where it would encompass a TCA strategy, maybe a YouTube video explaining if it's a for sale by owner, here's how I can help you convert or qualify people who are interested in your home, but then also going after the price reductions. You know, the real estate agents who are choosing the price reductions, it's like, you know, it's going back to the whole, should you do a rate drop or a price drop? But, you know, utilize things like Redfin where it has data there. And if you want to go straight to the end user, kind of like what Derrick's saying, there, maybe you could convert that for sale by owner into someone who'd be open-minded to even using an agent. Imagine if you went to an agent with a listing. They would love that. All right, Derrick, so we've got about 9 minutes left. How would you like to, I know we've got through your 5 must for this market. And guys, remember, if you're listening to this, ask questions. Now's the time to be selfish with the time. So if there's things specifically you want to ask Derrick, you know, just put that in the comments. And then 2, Derrick, will you share where people can contact you or find you? What's the best way for them to just get in touch? And then also, do you have a mastermind that you run that if someone wanted to join, they could?
Yeah, we have a mastermind they can join. Maybe there's only like 7 spots right now available, but we have something, and who knows, we may open something even up down the road for some additional people to join. But yeah, easiest way for me though is Assist You to Win, ASSIST, the letter U, the number 2, WIN.com. Everything really flows from there, from Instagram to Facebook to website to that. So that's that. So that's that. Somebody said recap the 5 points so you can jot them down. All right, number 1, vision. Make sure you see your future so you can be your future. Number 2, alignment. You have to align now what you see to what you do. So my mind, my mouth, and my movements have to all be in alignment. Number 3, messaging and marketing. You cannot be all over the globe right now. You must be clear in what you're saying, concise, and you must have a strong call to action. That's your billboard. That's your sign. And in marketing, I'm telling you, go all in right now. Don't retreat. This is not the time to retreat. Everybody did that. Don't go with the crowd, go opposite. So when they left, that means that you're going to be seen more. They're going to push you out more. You're going to be known more. I mean, my DM and inboxes stay full of people asking me to speak, all because I stay present and visible. And so get out there. Number 4, strategic connections and partners. This is not a season to be trying on people that are not serious about it or think or do things the way you want. You want to flow with people that are in your vein. So connect with people like Todd, like Deborah. This is the group, right? This is the people. These are who you want to connect with. Then number 5, is simple. It's the Pareto power play. Focus 1% of getting better in the 20% of your strengths and watch yourself go to the next level, right? Yes, Deborah, I went to her I utilize her now to help me in social media to get me out there more so it doesn't become a stress and a strain on me. So I just create videos and do it to give it to her team, and they do all this stuff, and they just say, keep creating content, and right? And you work together right now. If you do, you will win. I just want you to know that you're going to win. You're going to come out of this victorious.
That's what we all need. We all need to win. I just love it. So I'm definitely going to, I didn't check it out because I'm trying not to multitask, but assist you to win. Assist you to win. Love that. I feel like all of you who are watching this, whether you're watching it live or whether you are watching the recording of it, I mean, think about those 5 points that Derrick made and think really, how can you sharpen those, right? And I think when I look at it from a time frame, right? He said you've got to slow down to speed up, which means here we are, right? Where it's Friday morning, late morning, midday, depending where you're at, and you're heading into a weekend. And, maybe it's a good time just to set aside, an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours, just to go through that list and do kind of a checkup on yourself, right? How am I doing in each of these categories? Hey, could I make my vision a little bigger right now, right? I feel like a lot of people have kind of shrunk their vision, or they have their vision the same, but aren't really sold on it. So maybe that's where you need to start, but look at each one of those pieces. Certainly when it comes to the be seen and the marketing part, you've got Deborah on your team right here. So definitely be reaching out to, her and her team if you need help there. But, the bottom line is Derrick just laid out the path for you to have the mindset, to have the focus and the path to get to where you want to be between now and the end of the year, and really have the momentum into next year. So I thought that was just awesome. What do you want to add, Deb, or what last question do you want to ask?
Well, I think it's ironic that, Derrick runs assist you to win, and then you're Mr. Win by Noon. So guys, don't forget, Todd has a great planner, and we're coming up with the holiday season. So, the real estate agent, they don't need pie. They don't need a gift card right now. I would get them the Win by Noon planner. You can even do a bulk order where you can have your logo and your branding on the front, but they need to be tracking their numbers so that they can see, am I getting 1% better? Because it's kind of like, if you don't track, you don't know. And sometimes that negative voice, we may think, I'm not improving. So you've got to track your numbers. And I think this is a tool that can really help your agents stay focused and know which activities they should be doing. But I want to end with, Derrick talks a lot about mentality. So Derrick, how would you explain what does in fact, I want to make sure you put a link of where we can buy shirts that say mentality, because I love it. But explain to the group, what does that mean and how do we own and embrace that mentality?
Yeah. Thank you for that. So mentality is, it is where your mentality plus your ability equals your mentality. You have the skills. That's your ability. You have that. You guys are smart. You're zone of genius. You know what you're doing. If you're a loan officer listening in today, you know how to get people approved. Deborah knows how to do social. Real estate agents, you know how to show homes, how to list homes. That's your ability. Mentality says you can't just win on ability alone. You also need mentality. Your mentality says that no matter the circumstances, no matter the environment, no matter what they throw against me, my mentality says I get knocked down, I get back up. I get knocked down, I get back up again. I get knocked down, and then you finally say, stop knocking that person down, because every time he gets back up, he gets up stronger, faster, better, smarter, more determined. Mentality just says you just find ways to win, right? You just find ways to win. And that's this market right now. You find ways to survive. You find ways to make it. And my last thing on that portion, guys, is that if other people choose to go small right now, it really means that you get to experience bigger right now. You get to experience bigger right now. I know it sounds crazy, but my expectation is not to just maintain. My expectation is to thrive. My expectation is to get my unfair share of the pie. This is when you get to go conquest market, go market dominate. You don't want to help them? I'll help them. They're out there to be helped.
Well, I don't know how we can top that. That is the cherry on top, the icing on top of the cake, wintality. I super grateful, Derrick, that you spent time in our community. Thanks, Deborah, for bringing somebody new in. I will let you close it out, Deborah.
You obviously didn't get my message. Derrick, I just want to say, thank you. It goes back to the wedding that I had no idea what that night was going to be. And the fact that we met and you came over to the table and, you were talking to Denise and I, and we had, talk about connections and then taking action and helping Denise launch the Nerd Academy. And so, everyone, make sure you say thank you. The best way to thank Derrick would be go check him out on social. Make sure you're following him. Check out his mastermind. Hopefully there's still some seats left at the end of this. And, then take action and rewatch this however many times it takes. Keep rewatching.
All right. Well, thanks everyone.
Thank
On
you,
behalf
guys.
of Dave and the crew at Mortgage Coach, Deborah and the crew at Plug and Play SM, and me and my team at Win by Noon. Thank you, Derrick. We truly appreciate it and look forward to having you back in our community.
Thank you. Thank you again.